Tell me about your career. Have you decided which direction to go in?
No, still work in progress. I mean, I know what I'd like to do. It's just a matter of navigating a pathway to do it, I think. And there's two options. Like, I could just step out and just, hope that it all falls into place, or I could make sure that I'm in the best possible shape I can be in, and then make informed decisions from there. And I've chosen the latter.
Okay. So what's the neither?
The neither?
That's the other.
Well, the other is just step out, and just. But that wouldn't be a smart thing to do, I don't think. That would be too impulsive.
You impulsive? Never. I see you've changed your background around.
Yeah, I had a big clean up in here. Yeah, got rid of a lot of clutter and everything. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Still got to hang some paintings up again around, but I haven't. But no, I cleaned a lot of rubbish out that's been sitting here for too long and doing nothing for no one.
Good. It looks good from what I see behind you. Yeah. Great.
Feels a lot better too. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So what about you? What are you up to? What exciting things have you been involving yourself in?
Yeah. Yesterday, I was fired from my Brisbane job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
He says he can't afford me. He's going bankrupt. And his Filipinos that he's got working for him, he's reduced overall. He can't operate without them, but I guess he can operate without me. Yeah, I was gone same day yesterday.
Just like that. Wow.
Just like that. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Okay, I had no idea that it was coming. I knew he was struggling because he said that from time to time, but he said that December, January is always a struggling time in his type of business, and then it picks up in February and so on. But his apparently didn't pick up. Well, I don't know what picks up means, because I don't have anything to do with his client numbers and what they're paying and that sort of thing. So,
well, I sort of got the impression that he was sort of giving you more and more work all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it came as a shock. I definitely had an issue, because I mean I was still right up until the last day doing new profiles for LinkedIn, new clients. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether, I don't know whether he's been totally honest, whether he was just being polite, or whether my work wasn't up to scratch, and I really don't know. But it hit me hard yesterday, and I just sort of didn't do anything for the entire afternoon, and just had a bit of a restless night, and then I then decided yesterday afternoon to tell all my children, okay, so that they are aware, and my brother and sister, because I don't know what the outcome's going to be. You see why I didn't yesterday, and so I thought, I've got to pay off $12,000 in hospital bills. Insurance didn't pay, and now not going to have that money to pay it off. So what happens next? Sue's working, but she can cover the rent and food, with what she's doing. So she can cover all our expenses, day-to-day expenses, so we can carry on surviving. But we can't carry on, we can't pay the debts, or when my visa comes through, it's sitting in limbo at the moment. I've got a bridge in, which is always the case when you apply for a renewal. They immediately give you a bridging to say you've applied. So we won't send you out of the country until it's been looked at, and sometimes it takes 2 or 3 months.
I thought they'd freed that up a little bit too, that whole situation. Maybe it's still, being implemented, but I thought that they were not as harsh as they had previously been. But...
Well, I don't know. Okay, I've asked. Well, the maximum online that I can ask for is a 12-month visa. Okay, but I also asked for the previous one, and they gave me 6 months for the last one. Okay. So, but we'll see. But I have no doubt they're going to, in due course, because if you haven't been for a medical in the last 12 months, then they send you, and then that costs money. You to the bloody thing, and it's over $1,000 to go through the various rigmarole. So. I was thinking about all this yesterday, okay, and feeling down in the dumps and saying, "Come on, universe, I can't believe this. All right, you've got something coming around. Just come to the party now. But anyway, I woke up this morning and I had a message from a guy called Hugo in South Africa. Now, I haven't heard from him best part of a year, I suppose. Okay. And my association with him was when I still lived in South Africa. He introduced me to the owner of a nanotechnology company that was manufacturing in South Africa, but they were designing it and creating the laboratory was in Australia, and so I started forming a relationship with him, Hugo, and Tian, the actual owner, and but I hadn't heard from them for a while, and so on, and I've still been taking their product. And I woke up this morning and I thought, of all mornings, why does Hugo contact me now? He doesn't know anything about what's happened. He didn't even know about my stroke. And thought, this is weird. Okay, and immediately it just clicked. I said to the universe, thank you. Thank you, because this is reminding me that, in the past recent couple of months, I've just updated my website, or put out a brand new website, and I put some health articles on it, and I got my CRM started from scratch with that CRM, and I've started getting the odd emails out, but thinking to myself, I don't really know why I'm doing that. I might have even said it to you at a previous we had. I didn't quite understand what I was doing, why I was doing it. And you said something that, well, you write health things, and you complimented me on my writing and so on. And but it really, my heart wasn't in it because I didn't know what I was going to do with it. This morning, I knew when I got Hugo's message, say anything in particular. He just wanted to know how I am, and he wants to chat to me. How about a Skype call? And I thought, wow, okay. This is the route I must go. Okay? I must get into. I've never been particularly successful in any affiliate marketing, and I've been in plenty over many, many years. But it's always been done part-time, you know. So you're doing other work, and you go into meetings and you're talking about the product. You make pocket money, you know.
Yeah.
But now I thought this is full time, and it's everything is what I enjoy. Okay, so from being really down in the dumps this time yesterday, okay, to this time today, where I'm on top of the world. Okay? And I just got. I haven't had the meeting yet with old Hugo. Because they're forever having power outages. Oh my God, my brother gets so knackered with the power outages, because they have outages about 12 hours a day.
Goodness.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, it's in the middle of it's at night time, that's fine, but it sways across the country, and so, you know, some people get it half nighttime, half mornings, others get it afternoons and evenings, others get it all day. But he said he doesn't know when so he can only contact me when he's got the power on. So anyway, I'll chat to him and get an update. So in the meantime, they've now launched the product in Australia.
Okay.
Recently. So, you know, I spent the whole day today just now doing all sorts of things, okay, with regards to my emails I send out on a weekly basis and my articles that I publish on a weekly basis, putting affiliate links into them and things like that.
Yeah.
Just so that people are aware of them, and sent out some more emails today. So I've been very busy, and I just started about half an hour ago, you know, posted something on Facebook. Haven't really got my head around what I'm going to do. So yeah, that's my story.
Just goes to show, doesn't it? You know, so
does. It goes to show that we need, you know, we either believe in the universe and how it directs us and how it influences us, or we block it out by denying it. Or do you want to take that?
No, you're good.
So yeah, and it's going to be, you know, lots of interesting work, I think.
Sounds like it's got huge potential, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really has, and because it's also a very, very modern technology that has been created with nanotechnology.
So what's the nature of the product again?
Well, they've got 4 products in South Africa, launched in Australia with 3 of those, which is curcumin and vitamin D and vitamin C as nanotechnology. Okay. So it's a liquid that just dissolves really before it gets anywhere. It's into your bloodstream. So there's one product which is I don't know for sure, but I think in Australia it might be sort of a customs issue, which is hemp oil. And hemp oil is powerful stuff. But I don't know. certain people are allowed it in Australia. They can grow hemp and make things, but I'm not sure what the...
Yeah, I've got a feeling it might be regulated or something, and that depending on the nature of the oil, you might have to get a prescription for it, but apparently, like, it's not hard to do. You know, like, basically the people who can issue a prescription just do it, you know, pay your money and they'll give you a prescription sort of thing. So
yeah, but it's not a product then that you can really sell as an affiliate product. You know, if people are going to go and get prescriptions.
I don't know. Still might be a way to do it.
Yeah,
You know, so
it is. Maybe it is, but it's not. You know, the bottles are not in this country yet.
But as you say, it's a very powerful thing, isn't it? It's got all sorts of healing qualities.
Yeah, nearly as much as the curcumin. Okay.
And that's in a liquid form as well, is it?
All liquid form, all in liquid. Yeah, it's all being created so that it can be dissolved in water.
Okay.
You know, turmeric doesn't dissolve in water. And now with nanotechnology, they've invented it so it can. So yeah, that looks like good. So I've certainly got enough on my plate to keep me out of mischief.
And the beauty about it is stuff that you're passionate about. You know, like it's not as if you're, you know, just writing stuff for the sake of writing. It's stuff that you really believe in, and you know, is you know, close to your values and all that sort of thing. So yeah.
And it's really about my healing journey. You know, at the moment, the diabetic neuropathy is really, the pain in my feet from the nerves is there on a daily basis. It comes and it goes and it comes and it goes, and the pain, depending where it is, if it's around the ankle somewhere, you know, you like lose balance because it's so sharp, but then it's gone as quickly as it came, and so I bought myself some sort of diabetic insoles for my shoes, just because you need to, from my research. And I've written my first article, which is now on my website, about it, okay, and given people an American website, because that's where I did my research and found what I wanted. And I went into a shop here called the Athlete's Store.
Athlete's Foot. Yeah.
Athlete's Foot, that's right. And I couldn't get over the name. Because that's a disease, athlete's foot, you know. Yeah, but I guess maybe in Australia it isn't, maybe, you know, but certainly in South Africa it's a disease. If you've got athlete's foot, you've got a disease on your foot. Okay. But anyway, I went in there and really, really very helpful woman, and understood exactly what I was saying. You know, I'd done my research, so I went in there with the information, but that just added to our conversation. And yeah, so I've got comfortable feet now.
Very good.
Yeah.
And have you heard anything more from Logos? Have they been putting out any more stuff since that little release?
From who?
Logos.
Oh, Logos. No. You know, I'm lucky if it's once a month. Okay. And I know that Moya, although he was, when he sent that last message, he also took the trouble when he was with Lee Hobson. He took the trouble to phone me, and so Lee Hobson and Moya, we had a little chat, and that was very interesting, because he spoke about events that are imminent worldwide, but with him it's sort of it's like almost nothing. You know what I mean? It's a world war, but it's almost nothing. When it's over with, and over with might take 100 years. I don't know. Okay. And that's the way Moya is, because he sees things from another perspective. So interesting, and he also said too, the people that are connected on the outer or the inner with Logos, they will also experience what the others will experience, but they'll be protected from the worst of the suffering that mankind's going to get. Okay, so that was, and I've got the Logos books that I just every now and again, when I really feel like it, then I read randomly some of the pages. And still do the chant, the Logos chant, the Who we call it in Logos. Okay, and do contemplation while doing the Who.
Yeah, I think the spiritual practices are really, really important.
Yeah.
Not just from a mechanistic perspective, but that if you're not doing the work when the waters are calm, when the waters become turbulent, it's too late.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I find I thinking about the Who. Moya's never said this, but with my recent knowledge and our discussions, I think it's about a frequency. Okay? So you chant in Who, that's HU, and I guess it's giving out a frequency, and I do that when I was trying to focus on spiritual travel, and through the third eye, through the pineal gland, and that seems to lay me down and settles me. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it's. I don't know if every type of chant or whatever it is, but I guess whatever people are attached to at their level. Talking about their level, I was listening to The Edge of Wonder. Okay. I mentioned it before to you, I think. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's two youngsters that have their own sort of platform because YouTube kicked them off, and they didn't have another platform, so they're now called edgeofwonder.tv. Okay. It's videos of their discussions and their stories and their research and so on. And what I listened to about a few days ago, was an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
They had a third party involved, and they were having a discussion. But how currently, right now, the different dimensions are starting to overlap, and causing sort of weird results. You know, I'm not the best one to explain what I listened to because it was new to me. But basically, you know, they would overlap, and the time zones when are different, when the dimensions overlap. And so you would, if you were aware, you would suddenly, not suddenly, but you would become aware what happened. You know, what, there's some time missing out of your life. Okay. And that's happening now more and more and more, and particularly with this people who practice some form of spirituality, apparently, and they can actually move it so that they can actually get into another dimension quite easily. Okay, and they're going to have another episode where they talk about, or the guest anyway, talks about his experiences. So it's recorded, so one can, you know, you don't have to get it live. So it's interesting because it says everything is speeding up. Okay. And then, you know, even with my scientific research, I was looking at the scientists with regards to the sun. They had predicted that you know, the sun and the interference with the Earth would reach its peak in about 2026. But now they're saying everything has speeded up, and it's going to be next year. You know, nobody really knows, as far as predictions are concerned, what that means. Okay. You know, the scientists can speculate, but it's really got to do with the sun's rays interfering with the Earth's protection of itself, and how that's going to hold out and how it's going to not hold out, and what would be the consequences of that as well. Yeah, I was thinking of writing an article about it, but it's not really associated or linked to, other than my own interest of outer space.
Well, I mean, the scientists tell us that the expansion of the universe is happening at an ever increasing rate as well, don't they? You know.
Yes.
So.
Quite right. And yeah, and I know before I left South Africa, Moya was telling us that, you know, he's been to the furthest point, which the furthest point is that point of nothingness. And he says, you know, it is constantly growing, constantly increasing. So yeah, that comes from where, as well as the various telescopes that are out there in outer space.
Yeah, certainly a time of change, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is, definitely is. And time of change for us, or moving along various cycles in our own personal lives
Mm. Mm.
as well. And yeah, I find it interesting. I don't know if it helps you at all to think, you know, because you're thinking about a new career and so forth. But you know, it was only a few months ago where I told you I'd canned my website and my CRM and everything. You know, I was going to give.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I did. Okay, everything gone, and then soon after that, I started not knowing why. I started resurrecting that. Okay,
Yeah.
that was a few months ago. Now that obviously was inspired by the universe preparing me for the future, and I couldn't see it. Even when we had spoken last week, I couldn't see it. Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't see any reason. Only this morning when I woke, I could see it. Now, have you had any sort of things happening in the background? Might be of petty importance to your mind, but things that have just been manifesting, or things that you've been doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, and there's things that, you know, I would sort of think about that. Okay, well, you know, that's come to a dead end, and you know, just have to leave that for the time being and move the focus for somewhere else. And all of a sudden, just out of left field, it'll be like, oh no, the dead end's opened up. You know, so yeah. Mm. Mm. And I think the other thing which has sort of been influencing my thinking a fair bit too, like with all this other work I've been doing on myself and that, is just, well, I mean, like, for example, like we talked about fasting, and the nature of our discussion was about, you know, how long and how and all that sort of stuff. But we really didn't talk about why, which is unusual for us.
Yes. True.
You know, and it sort of occurred to me that, well, the why behind fasting or any other spiritual discipline is to make the space to allow God to do what God wants to do. And so whether you fast or how you fast and all that sort of stuff, in one sense, is immaterial, as long as you're making that space, you know, to allow God to do what God needs to do, you know, and that you're open to it, and that your path of spiritual growth is one of devotion and, you know, commitment and priority and all of those sorts of things. So as I've sort of been thinking about and doing things within that context of the why, you know, it changes from a mechanistic process to one of, you know, faith and an openness and preparedness to say, well, just guide me, just show me where you want me to place my foot and where you want my hand to be, and you know, and it's that sort of openness and willingness that seems to me to be, you know, like the catalyst for grace, you know, in many respects. So, so when you talk about, you know, like Moya talks about, you know, the turbulence that we're about to enter and all of that sort of thing, and whether it's 10 days or, you know, 1,000 years, you know, like as I said, for his perspective, it's neither here nor there, because if you have that focus on, you know, being an instrument of God, then it doesn't matter. You know, what will be, you know.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I kind of meant in one sense when you asked me the question about, so how's your career change going? It's like, well, I've put it in God's hands. So I just need to make sure that I'm open and aware and tuned for when the tap on the shoulder comes, that I feel it and respond accordingly. So.
Right. Yeah,
Mm.
and it will. If we take my example of yesterday, it will.
Yeah, of course.
Just cut off. Wham. Okay.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
But I just need to get out of the way.
I don't think you even have to do that. It will just happen. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you can interfere with it at all. I don't know. It's a good thought. Can you interfere with it? Because what will be will be.
Well, that's true too. But I think when I think about like lots of the teachings of Christ, he, at the risk of oversimplifying it, he, in my view, was saying to people, like, yes, God will do what God will do, with or without your agreement.
Right.
But what's most important, though, is that, grace flows when you do certain practices which create that openness and willingness and those sorts of aspects. Whereas if you just decide to say, no, I'm just going to live the most debaucherous life I can based on lust and pleasure and greed and that sort of stuff, it doesn't stop God from doing what God wants to do, but it just makes your self-induced suffering so much worse, So,
but if you rather than living a life of lust and consumeristic approaches, what happens if you just live a normal life of kindness and gracefulness?
Well, I mean, and this is the fine line, the balancing line that we walk. If you live that life on the assumption that you're buying yourself into a favourable position, then you're deluding yourself, because it's not the case.
Sure.
But if your spiritual practices are motivated by devotion and deepening spiritual relationship and those sorts of motivations, then it doesn't matter what shows up each day. That's your focus and that's your priority, no matter what. And that sort of like was what I was thinking about, like with fasting. It's a really silly example, but like today, for example, I was at work and I was sort of fairly busy, and it was like 10:30, and I thought to myself, oh gee, I'm a bit hungry. And then I just thought to myself, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. And I just sort of just got back on with it, sort of thing, and just, had lunch when I had lunch. So I didn't sort of distract myself. It was just like, no, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just kept on going. I didn't feel discomfort or anything like that, but it was just a thought that I just thought, no, it's all right, doesn't matter. It's like, well, it's not as if you've just stuck your head underwater and think, oh, well, I need to have a breath of air, but I can't because I'm underwater. It's like nothing like that. It's just like, oh yeah, I feel a bit hungry, but no, it doesn't matter. And my mindset was, well, if I need nourishment, well, the nourishment will come from God, because that's what my priority is,
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's a really silly, clumsy little example, but for me, that's spiritual practice in action, So.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. My approach is a little different. I sort of work within there's daytime and there's nighttime. and nighttime is the time of definitely of letting your body heal itself. Okay.
Yep.
And so you mustn't eat something before you go to bed necessarily, because you're interfering now with that healing approach. But with the sun rising, your body is supercharged, okay, and all your systems are, really go. I mean, your body automatically injects sugar into your blood in the early hours of the morning, okay. And so I say, okay, when I wake up and I'm hungry, I eat, okay. And then I eat, and then maybe 2 hours later, I'm hungry again. I eat again, and assuming it's still before lunch, and then that's it. Okay, from lunchtime, I sort of diminish, and just if I'm going to anything, I'm just maybe going to snack slightly, and if I'm reading in the evening or watching television with Sue, then I might snack a little bit too. But the quantity is minimal, and I certainly don't snack an hour or two before going to bed. Okay? So that's sort of my approach, because again, my research shows me that your body, let's call it, I don't know, once the sun goes down, maybe rather than trying to create a time. Once the sun goes down, it's less than 50% effective in metabolizing anything at all, okay? And there's just lots and lots of scientific evidence to show that there's people who follow calories and stuff like that, okay, that they can eat twice as much calories mid-morning or even early morning than they can sort of late in early evening. And so, yeah, to me, that just sort of, it works. And I lose weight slightly every month, and that's fine. Okay. I've lost weight maybe to a point where I'm very comfortable because my arms and legs are thin. I've only got a big stomach, and that's it. And so it's not as if I'm eating too much. No, I eat when I'm hungry.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Am I really hungry, or am I just got an urge to? Is it comfort food, or like what's going on in my body? Like, am I feeling stressed about something, or am I? Why? Or am I just hungry, or am I thirsty, or what is it? So.
Yeah. I find when I'm like working and I'm sort of thinking and I'm challenged in some sort of way, then I start feeling hungry. I'm happy if it's in the morning. I'll have it always be something healthy. Okay, so whole grain bread with maybe a bit of avo or something like that, or whatever, and Talking about avo, I see Woolworths are selling frozen avo.
Really?
Yes.
And what, the whole fruit, or just?
They're slices.
Okay.
It's been beautifully studied. It's beautiful and ripe, okay, and it's frozen, okay, and it's so much nicer than trying to find the avos in season and trying to ripen them and so on. you just go to your deep freeze and defrost them. Interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think a lot of those things, even like just talking about with the new technology, with nanotechnology and that, the need from a nutritional perspective to look at how our food is produced and the quality of the soil that it's grown in and all of those things things that we do need to look at, because we know that a lot of the food that's grown is not as nutritious as it has been in the past, don't we? So
Yeah. One of the big issues with even organic soil, okay, your vitamin B12, we've spoken about this before, comes from the soil. But even from organic soil now, it's just no longer there. Okay. And which is interesting. So the jury for me is still out. Obviously, I buy organic, okay, wherever I can. But if I can't, it doesn't stress me. Okay. Because the large nutrients are in organic and non-organic. Where you get on the organic, you get those extra that are shielded from being absorbed by the plant. So that's where the advantage of organic comes. But it's not a crisis, because your body stores a lot of those chemical nutrients outside of the vitamins.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting topic.
For sure. Well, maybe that's a good spot to leave it tonight, do you think?
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, I look forward to hearing next week about everything that's unfolding for you. It'll be very exciting, I'm sure.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed. I will share that with you. I dropped something on your LinkedIn that I thought you might be interested in. I don't know when it was, yesterday or this morning.
Okay, I'll have to have a look.
Yeah. It's about a calendar. Okay.
Oh, the Mayan one, was it?
Yeah. But I'll leave it to you.
Okay.
We'll chat again.
Very good. Okay.
Okay.
See you now.
Bye.